Welcome to the Prophecy Club. We're going to be listening to the audio of the brand new DVD from Lindsey Williams called The Crash of the Banks. Topics are, when is the U.S. banking system going to crash? Bank deposits are no longer money. ISIS versus ISIL. The truth about oil. Deflation, not inflation. Annihilation of Israel. Violence in Washington. Interest rates. And the Levant. And you can get it by calling 785-266-1112. That's 785-266-1112. Grab your cell phone. Ask for the crash of the banks. The crash of the banks. Can't get this on the website. You got to go to 785-266-1112. The crash of the banks. The DVD is over 2 hours in length. I'm going to play about 30 or 40 minutes of it. Here's Lindsey Williams on his brand new DVD called The Crash of the Banks.
Welcome. I am your host, Lindsey Williams. In 1850, Daniel Webster, who was at that time a senator from the state of Massachusetts, gave a presentation before the joint houses of Congress that was what I would call today prophetic. I'd like to read that, if I may. Hold on, my friends, to the Constitution and to the Republic for which it stands. Miracles do not cluster, and what has happened once in 6,000 years may not happen again. Hold on to the Constitution, for if the American Constitution should fail, there will be anarchy throughout the world. That is going to happen in 2015. Yet he gave that in 1850. My elite friends have told me certain things about what are going to be taking place in the near future. First of all, before I give those items, I would like to give some background so that you'll know why I'm able to say some of the things I'm going to say today. Many years ago, I was actually invited to be the chaplain to the elite of the world. And for 3 years' time, by the providence of God, I lived with the people that we only hear about, and very few people ever get to know. May I state as emphatically as I possibly can that there is a group of people on the face of the earth who control the world. I can say that because I sat in the board meetings with them, I lived with them, I know they exist. Over these past 37 years, I have kept in touch with some of those people. One of them died back about 4 years ago, who was a man that knew everything that was going to happen before it happened. I miss him tremendously. Before he died, I can say assuredly that I will see him in heaven. And I had a lot of opportunities to witness to those people. There are still some today that I have contact with who are in their 70s and 80s. And those people tell me things. Never one time in 38 years, anything that they've ever said, it happened exactly like they said it. Because nothing ever happens by chance. It happens by design. They choose who goes to Washington. They choose what happens there. They make decisions. And there are some things that are going to happen in 2015 that are what I would call extremely significant. And I think this will be the most dynamic, the most unusual year that any person viewing this DVD or myself at my age has ever experienced in our lifetime. We are going to see some very unusual events. I received an email recently from my elite friend. I wasn't expecting it. And right across the top of the email were these words, imminent danger. He only said a few things after that. I was so surprised. Some of you remember it was just a matter of months ago. I was so surprised at what I had received without any warning that I posted it on lindseywilliams.net. That's the official website that you can go to. It's free of charge. You can see what's there. I post items as they are sent to me. I would urge you to go there every few days, because every time I'm given something by one of the elite, I will post it on lindseywilliams.net. You will know the very latest of what they're doing from now right on through 2015. And I think there are going to be a lot of postings up there. So once again, let me remind you, lindseywilliams.net, not .com, but lindseywilliams.net, .net. In 2015, the elite have full intentions in bringing in the New World Order in its entirety. Now, they've been working on this for a long time. You remember it announced by George Herbert Bush many, many years ago, the New World Order. He was the first one, I think, to use it in that particular sense. This is the year that they intend to bring in completely the New World Order. I would like to give you the new things, many of which I've not given before on any DVD presentation or even on the website, because some new things have come my way just in the last few days. I would like to give you the new things that you can intend to see in the very near future. Things that you must know in order to be able to, at least in 2015, enjoy life. When is the United States banking system going to crash? I will sum it up in 3 words. Watch the derivatives. There used to be 4 American banks that were too big to fail. They now have classified 5 American banks that are too big to fail. Now, each of these 5 banks have a more than $40 trillion exposure to derivatives. Now, let's consider this in light of the national debt of the United States of America. We have a grand total of $17.7 trillion in total national debt as of right now in the United States. And we have 5 banks that have $40 trillion worth of exposure to derivatives, which have no backing. They're nothing but paper wagers. And what's going to happen when this collapses? I can't even comprehend what will take place when this derivative collapse takes place. Let me try to describe it, if I can, this way. Derivatives can be incredibly complex. But essentially, they're nothing in the world but pieces of paper that happen to be a wager on what's going to happen in the future. The truth is that derivative trading is really like a baseball game or a basketball game that you might bet on, but yet the banks trade derivatives basically in a form of legalized gambling, and all 5 of these 5 banks have transformed Wall Street into the largest casino in the history of this planet. And can you imagine when this derivative bubble finally bursts, the pain that is going to be caused in the global economic system? It will be greater than words can possibly even describe. On November the 16th of 2014, the money in your bank account was stolen. You may have caught it. A few people who were in the know did. I received information about it. And what happened on that day was the G20 literally stole the money from your bank account. Let me try to explain the G20. The 20 most prominent nations in the world were meeting together on that day of November the 16th, and they decided that the money in your bank account no longer belonged to you and to me, but rather it belongs to the bank. And you are just a depositor who, if you have any money left after the derivative bubble decides to crash, and they know it's going to, and it will probably take place in 2015 if they have it the way that they want it, your bank account will be used to pay the bank debt for you given any money. That means the derivatives, all of the bank debt. If there's anything left over, you'll be given some of what there is. Now, still go down and take your money out. You can still go to the ATM, but you just wait until the derivative market collapses and what is going to take place. Let me put it this way. At the recent G20 meeting, the nations agreed that the bank deposit was no longer considered money. Did you catch that word? Not only is it not considered yours, it is no longer considered money. These bank deposits, yours and mine, bank deposits, became the property of the banking institution and as such can be used any way the bank wants. This means that your money, the deposit that you now have in the bank, is no longer yours, but it makes the investor, you're just an investor in the bank, and your money is subject to the success or the failure of the bank, and in case of a banking crisis, your deposit in that bank will be used to pay off the debts of the bank. Now, not only was that decided at the G20 meeting, listen to what Congress did later. Yes, those wonderful congressmen that we can put all of our faith and trust in Washington. A spending bill, after this G20 meeting, by the way, a spending bill was just passed by Congress that makes the American taxpayer responsible for any derivative losses that the bank may suffer. That's right. These derivative holders, your money isn't yours first, but the first priority is for the bank to pay off the derivative. Their Las Vegas gambling style casino, your money will be used to pay that off first before you are given anything. Now, you saw that sign, said FDIC insured. Well, let's consider what that really means. Right now, the FDIC will have to pay out these funds, but where are they going to get the money from to pay it? There's only $300 trillion in losses, and it would take up everything that the FDIC has.
We'll be right back after this message. The next speaker at the Prophecy Club is Jonathan Wright. He's an authority on prophecies in the Bible codes. He says not only do they validate the Bible, but they unseal the prophecies, such as, who are the two witnesses? Is Obama the Antichrist? Will there be a third world war? Will America be nuked and fall? Who is the Mahdi? Will there be a caliphate? When does the rapture take place? What is the role of the Pope and Vatican? Will there be a third temple? And much more. Jonathan will speak Saturday evening 7 p.m. and Sunday morning 9:30 to noon, March 14th and 15th. That's at the Prophecy Club, 2540 K Avenue in Plano. Order the DVD Prophecy in the Bible Codes at prophecyclub.com. Saturday night, 7 p.m., Sunday morning 9:30 to noon, March 14 and 15, Prophecy Club, 2540 K Avenue in Plano, or order Prophecy in the Bible Codes at prophecyclub.com. And now, back to the program.
There's only $300 trillion in losses, and it would take up everything that the FDIC has. Where would your money go? It'll go to pay off the other indebtedness of the bank. That means that the depositor has little hope of getting anything back. In order for depositors to get anything back, massive money printing would have to take place, making any payout amount only pennies on the dollar. Do you realize that the New World Order has set everything in order? Everything is in place. The G20, Congress passed the bills, your bank knows, and now I would call this somewhat the icing on the cake. And if you don't think there is any danger in banking crises in America, you may want to keep in mind that the Treasury Department of the United States of America has recently ordered $5,000 worth of 72-hour emergency kits for dispersion to every major bank in America. Why? They know something's going to happen. They know that, they call it bug out, by the way. That's the official title for it. And they know that when this happens, those bank people are going to have to stay in that bank because of the crisis that will take place. This could happen anytime in 2015. Again, let me stress, according to what my elite friends and my Wall Street insider friends have told me, everything is in place. Everything is ready for the total completion of the New World Order. And as you hear the rest of this DVD presentation, you'll readily understand the complete circumference of what all of this brings into play. If the elite have their way, let me clarify that, they're not God. I lived with these people for 3 years. They're mere men. They sometimes think they're God, but they aren't. They have the power to do things on earth. God has more power than they do. If they have their way, you will see the following. I'd like to sum up what you can expect to see in the year 2015. Now, some of you will remember that a number of months ago, and I gave this, I think, on my website, lindseywilliams.net, I was actually told to go to a certain place and I would find out what their plans were. Some of you will remember the statement. And at the time I did, there were 2 items that they said, go and look at, and this is what you can expect to happen. And my elite friend was basically saying to me, why don't you warn people? Here is what you can expect. There will be violence in Washington. That's correct. Now, you're beginning to see some of this right now. You're going to see more. It wouldn't surprise me at all if there weren't fist fights on the floor of the House and the Senate. I was told to go, and some of you will remember the name David Stockman. David Stockman was the budget director for the United States President Ronald Reagan. He's an older gentleman now. He knows everything that's going on. And David Stockman, I was told to go to an article that he had written. And in it he said, America will descend into an era of sub-zero austerity and virulent political conflict, extinguishing even today's feeble remnants of economic growth. Now, notice that word virulent. It's violent. He actually said, and I have been given words since then from other sources, there will actually be, and they're expecting, violence. Not necessarily on the streets of Washington, D.C., in the government houses themselves. And of course, this is all a part of what they'd like to do. Then I was told to go one other place. He's a Mexican billionaire. His name is Hugo Salinas Price. And he summed it up the best of any person that I have seen so far and gave it basically word for word in some of the lingo that my elite friend gave to me one time. He said, I think we're going to see a series of bankruptcies. Yes, that you will, even large corporations. I think the rise in interest rates, please catch that word. He knew this, being an insider himself. I think the rise in interest rates is the fatal sign which is going to ignite a derivative crisis. Now, you remember what the G20 said. You remember what the Congress, the bill passed after they had their meeting. Salinas Price saw all of this. He said it's going to bring down the derivative system and the financial system. There are over $1 quadrillion of derivatives. He places it a lot higher, by the way, than what was given a moment ago in the banking crisis and the 5 banks in America. He said the spiking of interest rates in the United States may set it off. What is going to happen in the world is eventually we're going to come to a moment where there's going to be massive bankruptcies around the globe What is going to be left after the dust settles is gold. Did you catch that? I'll deal with that subject later also in my presentation. And some people are going to have it, and some people are not. I thought that was very significant when Solinus Price said, then the problem is going to be to hold on to what you've got, because it's going to be very unpleasant. Predictions for 2015, according to what my elite friend and my Wall Street friends have given me. September and October will be the most critical months of the year. There definitely is expected to be a financial crisis sometimes either prior to or during those 2 months. Interest rates are going to rise. There's no choice. With what's taking place in Japan, what's happening in Russia, what's taking place with China, the way the euro is going right now, the Federal Reserve will have no choice. It's expected that interest rates will rise as the year 2015 goes along. Gold. Everyone is saying, what's going to happen to gold prices? They've been staying the same now for the last year or so. Well, gold may go down even a little further. I personally don't think that it will. Keep one statement in mind that was given to me by my elite friend back a number of years ago. He said, Chaplain, do you know what our currency is? And my response was, what? At the time, I didn't know. He said, Chaplain, our currency is gold. They aren't going to allow it to be bothered. They will manipulate it the way they want it. They have the price low now, even though the supply is getting less and less. Many gold mines have been shut down because they can't afford to produce. But gold is their currency, and at some point it will rise exponentially. So, gold, don't sell it. Please hold on to your gold. You're going to need it, and buy more if you can get it. There's one word now that is going to surprise you. Nearly everywhere for the last 2, maybe 3 years, they've been talking about inflation, inflation, inflation. Well, I'm going to use the exact opposite word. The elite now have indicated, and just this past week I had a long conversation about this. From this point on, you can expect deflation. Now, I know that surprises, but your prices will be going down in everything except one item. Food prices are going to inflate. All of the other prices, you can expect deflation. Now, let me try to give an example, if I can, what you're seeing happen right now before your eyes. Russia. Vladimir Putin. Many of you will remember that only a matter of months ago, Mr. Putin was riding on the pinnacle of popularity. Russia was doing marvelous. Russia this past year became the #1 supplier of crude oil on the face of the earth, bypassing Saudi Arabia. And the Russian economy was riding high. And the Russian currency was at an all-time high. And Mr. Putin was so popular. Do you realize that within 3 months' time that the Russian economy has almost collapsed? And the Russian ruble is now worth approximately 50% less than it was only a matter of months before. Oh, but you say that can't happen in the United States of America. No, the #1 oil producer in the world, Soviet Russia, I'm sorry, not the word Soviet, we'd used that years ago, but Russia today, 50% drop in its currency in a matter of only months. I'm trying to use this as an example of what can and I think will happen, and it can happen that rapidly or even faster. Right here in the United States of America, and don't think it can't happen. It is to the point that I was actually advised, and this is going to surprise you. I'm staying in America. I'm right here. I'm with you. I was actually advised recently to choose an alternative residence where I would like to go for a period of time.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt the DVD Crash of the Banks right there by Lindsey Williams, and I'm going to tell you how you can get it. You can call 785-266-1112. That's 785-266-1112, and order The Crash of the Banks, the brand new DVD by Lindsey Williams. Topics are: when is the U.S. banking system going to crash? Bank deposits are no longer money. ISIS versus ISIL. The truth about oil. Deflation, not inflation. Annihilation of Israel. Violence in Washington. Interest rates. And the Levant. This is probably your final opportunity to get Crash of the Banks. 785-266-1112. The Crash of the Banks. The Crash of the Banks at 785-266-1112. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your prayers. And thank you for your gifts of support. God bless. Now from the Prophecy Club, some exciting opportunities for you. The next speaker at the Prophecy Club is Jonathan Wright. He's an authority on prophecies in the Bible codes. He says not only do they validate the Bible, but they unseal the prophecies, such as, who are the two witnesses? Is Obama the Antichrist? Will there be a third world war? Will America be nuked and fall? Who is the Mahdi? Will there be a caliphate? When does the rapture take place? What is the role of the Pope and Vatican? Will there be a third temple? And much more. Jonathan will speak Saturday evening 7 p.m. and Sunday morning 9:30 to noon, March 14th and 15th. That's at the Prophecy Club, 2540 K Avenue in Plano. Order the DVD Prophecy in the Bible Codes at prophecyclub.com. Saturday night, 7 p.m., Sunday morning, 9:30 to noon, March 14 and 15, Prophecy Club, 2540 K Avenue in Plano, or order Prophecy in the Bible Codes at prophecyclub.com. Shocking, amazing, heresy, and blasphemy. Using over 100 video clips, you will see large, well-known ministers making shocking statements contrary to the Bible. Not just simple doctrinal errors, but open abomination, heresy, apostasy, even blasphemy. So bad, you'll have to see it to believe it. See some of your favorite, most popular pastors seduce you with lying signs and wonders. The biggest names teach a false Christ. Yes, it is true. Your mouth will fall open. God exposes the worst sins of the Bible in these DVDs called Error in the Church. Worse than the Old Testament. Nation-killing sins in America today. You won't be disappointed. You'll be furious, beyond angry. I thank God that Leslie showed me these shocking errors, and I would never have known it or believed it if I had not actually seen it. This will keep Prophecy Club and you from falling into error. Don't miss it. The fantastic offer of Error in the Church. Call today and give a $50 gift, and we will immediately ship you the first 3 DVDs, 13 topics, 11 DVDs. And we put it together in a fantastic new offer. Call today and give a $50 gift, and we will immediately ship you the first 3 DVDs. 30 days later, we'll charge your card for the second $50 gift, then send you the final 8 DVDs, totaling 11 DVDs. 30 days later, we'll charge the third $50 gift. 30 days later, the fourth and final $50 gift, making it easy for you to get this fantastic set of 11 DVDs. That is 4 monthly gifts of $50 each. Error in the Church, 13 topics, 11 DVDs, valued at $330. Get started today for a gift of just $50. If you already placed an order, call 785-266 and we'll explain your great deal. Call 785-266-1112 and ask them for the fantastic Error in the Church offer. $50 donation gets you 3 DVDs heading your way today. Error in the Church, 785-266-1112. Error in the Church, 785-266-1112. Call today.